After inventing the pocket gimbal camera market and dominating it, DJI have finally done something genuinely different with the new generation. They've split it into two. So, is this one worth having? Do you want the cheaper one, or should you just stick with the one you've got? Oh, and there's a competitor this time too. We'll get to that later. So the principle of the pocket gimbal camera is pretty straightforward. Camera at the top, but it's very difficult to get a shot wobbly or unsteady because it's held even for you by this gimbal, this mechanical mechanism that stabilizes it. What they've done this time is put two cameras in the same way as mobile phones or premium phones have extra cameras, and that gives you a telephoto option. So instead of just having a vlogging camera that you can hold at your face or give you a scenic view from a wide angle, you've now got the option to zoom straight in without getting the softness and ugliness of a digital zoom. That is the big step up. We have two other key generational improvements against the previous Pocket 3. There's much better slow motion with 240 frames per second, and you've got 107 gigabytes of built-in storage, so you don't even need to go out and buy a microSD card if you don't want. We still have a 1-inch image sensor. So is it really worth the upgrade if you've got a Pocket 3? And that answer is going to be about whether you want to use the telephoto more than anything else. If you're familiar with the design of the DJI Pocket 2, 3, then there won't be any serious surprises here. You have a little section underneath which is detached with a button, opens little flaps to the side, pops away. There's a USB-C thing here. There is a larger version of this as well, which is a large battery that gives you a longer life. That pops in, give it a little wobble, clicks into place. Now on the bottom, there's a tripod thread, and you can attach that onto a tripod, or you can plug it, screw in the tripod base. So quite a lot of options for not too much effort. On the side, there is microSD card slot, although you don't necessarily need that anymore because you have 107 gigabytes storage built in, and you can transfer that really nicely quickly, or you can transfer it to the app using your phone. To power it up, you just flick this thing. As you see, camera immediately makes itself ready. There's a button in the bottom right of this 2-inch touchscreen, which is nice and bright and easy to see even in this really sunny day. And this is also where we can make a lot of our settings changes. There is a little thumb style joystick, which gives us a lot of control, but can be a little bit fiddly as well. Part of the appeal of a pocket gimbal camera is that it allows you to get steady footage as you vlog, as you walk around the place. And here, this is a premium version because it has a 20mm equivalent lens and a 60mm equivalent lens. So my thumb joystick does a lot of my controls here, and there's an item on the touch screen which switches. Tap it once, and now I'm in zoom control, and I'm zooming right in on my subject. It zooms past the 3 times, but of course a degree of digital zoom is being used here. This is often thought of as one of the best-selling video cameras out there, but it also has a stills photography mode, and that's been updated for this model. It used to take roughly 9 megapixel shots. Now it has a super photo mode, which can take either 33 or 37 megapixels, depending on whether it's shooting in 16:9 or this jaunty square look. It's a little tiny bit of vibration, but I am shooting stills, so there it is, my still shot. The other thing, and the other way you have it of keeping your shot where you want it, is just to use the subject tracking. DJI subject tracking has been worked on for some years. It's an ActiveTrack 7 now, and I can just tap on a face. It shows me any faces it spots, and it's not just humans, pets have faces too. It can even identify most vehicles. And now it's the little green marks around my face to show me it's shooting me. And as I move the camera around, it has no problem keeping me in the center of the shot, as long as I'm not too fast. There are options in the settings to allow me to decide exactly how fast I'm prepared to let the camera choose or switch around, and that's well worth having. Settings are achieved by swiping up. You can swipe from the side to play video you've already shot. You can tap in the bottom left-hand corner to bring up the menus between video, photo, panorama, slow motion, and time-lapse. A feature which first appeared on DJI's drones is panorama, in which the device will take several photographs and stitch them together for you to give you a bigger and higher resolution image. Here it's going to take a 3x3 image. I'm just going to turn the camera around to face the view I actually want to get over there and hit shoot. Keep device upright, it tells me, so I'm leaving my hands off and letting the tripod do its thing. And that's it. This kind of long shot with compressed perspective is something that you just couldn't get with only a wide angle lens. But it's something these premium devices like the Pocket 4P and its competitor that we're going to talk about give you an opportunity to get. And with the extra advantage of the gimbal for stabilization, you can just easily whip something out of your pocket and get the shot without setting up a tripod or anything like that. So something I definitely saw there was a distinct jump as we switched from the wide camera. Oh, there's the jump. One of the things that makes this a really good choice for anyone is the very full feature set. A lot of people in my line of work don't like to admit that the glamour effects are one of the reasons this sort of camera are very popular. Vloggers can turn on effects that just make faces look that little bit nicer. You can turn on the Pro mode and have a 10-bit D-Log 2, a slightly revised version of DJI's log scale, which means you can put LUTs on or do what you want in editing if you're very, very serious about the results you want. DJI has had the pocket gimbal camera market to itself for a while, but now it's facing some serious competition. The Pocket 4P is the premium product, but so too is Insta360's Luna Ultra. So, which one is the winner? They both come to life in very much the same way. They both have 1 and 3 times cameras, so the experience is very similar. The Luna is also 8K, although I find limited use for it. The 8K is limited to 30 frames a second, whereas its 4K mode is 60 frames a second. The DJI just sticks to 4K 60 frames a second. But, and it is a big but, if you're shooting and you need a microphone, or if you're shooting and you're doing anything other than just holding it above your face for simple vlogging, Insta360 have come up with some very clever ideas. Here, it's all in the one device, unless I reach for my phone to use the app for remote control. On the Luna, the screen detaches from the camera and retains control over the camera. I can still use this joystick to tilt it up and down. And now the microphone, the active microphone, is here in this. So I can go and set this up some distance away. It has little built-in tripod legs if I'm using any of the very similar battery bottoms, and it has quite nice tactile zoom in, zoom out, as well as the joystick. So the telephoto isn't quite as good. I'm not entirely sure the picture is quite as sharp, and it definitely tends towards being a little bit more saturated in places, but that's not that important, because if you really care about that kind of thing, you can shoot in the log profile and adjust it later in your edit. What you have instead is a device which is much easier to set up and compose a single person shot from distance. I can put this camera where I want, and that is a little bit trickier. You just have slightly fewer capabilities with DJIs. The Pocket 4P though does have slightly better imaging quality. It has ever so slightly feels more robust, and I think there's something about several generations of experience there. And while I don't particularly enjoy the experience of the button layout, I think there's something very useful about this version of the design that features the customizable buttons under the display. I just personally would prefer a separate zoom and joystick. And again, that is something on the Insta360. The other thing I'd say is if you're thinking of upgrading, the upgrade should be about having the extra telephoto. That is a massive improvement. In terms of the other upgrades, then yes, there are marginal improvements to the ability to track subjects. And of course, now you get built-in memory, but you know, you've probably bought a microSD card by now. So if you are not going to be interested in a telephoto shot, then it's probably not worth making the upgrade to this generation from the Pocket 3, and you can save yourself some money. The DJI Osmo Pocket 3 was a smash hit of a camera, and being the sort of person I am, I was already excited about the Pocket 4. What features was it going to have? It was going to have a lot, right? It was going to have tons of exciting new features. So when it was a generational development, when it was just a bit of onboard memory and some better slow motion, I was honestly a little bit disappointed. I'm always looking for a big new feature. So this, the 4P, is the camera I was waiting for. And it does live up to that, because that extra telephoto zoom, that is a feature that really changes what you can get out of the camera. You can get shots that you just couldn't get otherwise. So it is worth having. And I think a large number of creators, YouTubers, and people who just understand photography and video creating will understand why this is worth spending that much more. All of those features are there, and lots of features are nicely hidden away if you don't need them or you don't want to get lost in the menus. DJI do have good usability for the most part, with the exception, I'm going to say, of the zoom / joystick. That could be better in my view. And we've seen it's better on the one obvious competition, the Insta360 Luna Ultra. But this still produces an excellent picture, is part of several generations of brilliant camera design, and has a lot to push me towards it. You know, I've got a lot of DJI products. I have DJI microphones, and the fact that it connects to DJI microphones is encouraging for me. And while I love the remote control that the competition offer, it is possible to compose shots using your phone as a remote control, and DJI's Mimo app is really useful and well designed for copying data across. So don't necessarily rush to the competition. It's exciting that this is part of a new, busier marketplace, but this could well still be the king for your purposes. I really like this, and I think other creators would want something like this to make their videos with. It might be overkill for a lot of people, but this is what I wanted.